This video I'm just going to do two quick examples that we'll practice more in class the next day. This is the first one. We're going to simplify expressions like this, and as normal as what we're always going to do is we're going to use exact values, and we're also going to use those triangles that we developed, the triangle we developed and the square we developed to help do this. So I'm going to section off this section of the page because this is where I do like rough work when I figure out these. Normally I don't just have my page beside me to look up these sine of 30, cosine of 30. You will start to memorize them as you use them more often. But I'll show you what I do if I don't kind of just quickly recall it. Okay, so my job here is to simplify this. I've got sine of 30 times cos of 30, and that's divided by cos of 60. Now these are all just ratios, and what we're going to do is simplify this using their exact values. So first I want to do sine of 30. Now 30 degrees and 60 degrees are related by that equilateral triangle, so I'm just going to quickly draw that. I'm going to cut it. Remember, it was 2 all the way around, and then therefore this is a side length of 1. This was 60. This angle is 30. There's my right triangle. Do you remember what this length is? Using Pythagorean theorem, you can find that that length is the square root of 3. Okay, so there, boom, I've got the triangle. Let's now write in what sine of 30 is, because all I'm going to do is substitute what sine of 30 is, what cosine of 30 is, and what cosine of 60 is, and I'll simplify. So sine of 30, there's 30, sine is opposite over adjacent, so that's a half. So I've got a half, and I'm going to times it by cosine of 30. Cosine of 30 would be root 3 over 2. I'm going to divide all of that by cosine of 60. Cosine of 60 would be 1 over 2. Okay, there's lots of different ways to simplify this. I'm just going to go through the most basic, following the rules. I'd multiply the numerators together. These two fractions on the top, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. So I get root 3 over 4. That's what this whole numerator simplifies to. This is still all divided by a half. So this is root 3 over 4, and I'm going to divide it by half, which means I multiply by its reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. So this is root 3 times 2, so let's just write it as 2 root 3, and 4 times 1, which is 4. Notice I've got a fraction that can be simplified. 2 and 4, 2 go, so this is 2 over 4, which is really like a half. So how I do that is 2 goes in here once, 2 goes in here twice, and this whole answer is 1 times root 3, which is a root 3, and a 2 on the bottom. So this whole thing simplifies to root 3 over 2. Another quick way I could have done that is notice back here in this expression, these are all kind of factors being multiplied. I can do the multiplying and dividing in any order. So back here I could have crossed off a half with a half, right? They divide out to give you 1, and there's your answer right there, is root 3 over 2. So we're going to do a series of these kind of questions come class. Also, we're going to have a little quiz underneath this video, multiple choice quiz like we've had in the past. I'm going to get you to simplify a couple on your own and put the results into the quiz. All right, let's do one more quick example. Let's come over here. So this question says, thus determine theta, which is the angle, and this says, okay, so this looks ugly, but careful, it's not that ugly, it's not that hard. It says, determine theta if theta is between 90 degrees, so like it's between 0 and 90 degrees. It's less than 90, but it's bigger than 0, so give me some angle that's an acute angle, like it's less than 90 degrees, that satisfies this equation. So it's like root 3 times tan of some angle gives me 1. This is my question to solve. To solve this, let's do it like we would have done in grade 10. We would have isolated for the tan theta. So I'm going to divide both sides by root 3. So I've got tan of theta, and that's going to equal, if I divide by root 3, it's gone. I got 1 over root 3. Okay, so I need tan of some angle equals 1 over root 3. Sometimes how we do this, right? We want to get an exact number. Most of the time we do not need a calculator to do any of the work for these exact values. Root 3's, any of those kind of exact values involving root 3's, those ones that involved root 3's came from the triangle. Make the triangle, cut it in half. Remember, it was 2 all the way around. Make this right triangle here. This is a 60. This is a 30. This is the root 3 height. This side length is 1. Okay, so looking at that right triangle in there, tan of what angle is 1 over root 3? So remember, tan is opposite over adjacent. So if the opposite is 1 and the adjacent is root 3, what is the angle theta that gives me that? Let's check. Let's look over here. So if this one is the opposite and this one is the adjacent, well, tan of 30 would be the opposite over adjacent. So that angle is 30. Okay, so the goal here is just isolate for that expression tan theta, and then all we have to do here is just kind of remember our special angles. Look it up. Remember, we don't need to really look it up. We just need to kind of draw those diagrams. Okay, those are all the examples for today.